I thought we could play a game. Leave in the comments what you think the prettiest piece that we see today is, the ugliest piece that we see, the strangest piece, or the thing that you think that I should have bought that I didn't. Hi, I'm George the Antique Nomad. Come with me as I wander the country in search of valuable vintage, amazing antiques, and cool collectibles. We'll buy, sell, and trade at antique malls, shops, and shows, estate sales, flea markets, thrift stores, anywhere people go to find really interesting things that just aren't made anymore. So come on, let's go! Hey everybody, good morning. It's George the Antique Nomad, and I am at the very first stop on the 400-mile yard sale. I'm catching it a little bit in the middle because I want to hit some places that I haven't seen before. I've been on this a few times. It's really fun. It goes all the way across the state of Kentucky. There is a lot of stuff. They put out a really good map so you know where everything is and you can pick and choose your route, and I've got it figured out, and my first stop is here on Dawson Springs Road, which means I haven't gotten all that far. I've only gotten about half an hour from home, but this is where the sale first is intercepted. This place says it's a flea market, and it said it had some antiques. I'm looking for places that are multi-dealer sites primarily, unless I see something really great by the side of the road. It's all going to depend on what's out. People are just setting up. This is the morning of the first day of a 4-day sale. They were talking about rain, so a lot of people delayed setting up. So that was great because I got to take my shipments to the post office before I left. This is going to be a flea market slash highway sale slash garage sale slash antique sale slash who knows what. So there's going to be a lot of just used goods and new things and flea market stuff and imported things, but we are looking for the vintage things that we can flip for a profit. It's faux fur. It's got a little bit of something going on there. Yeah, made in England. Huh. Simulated fur says so right there, and then it's got the label inside here.
It's got all the proper labels, which is good.
Bunch of jewelry here too. Most of this is newer, not vintage, but that was kind of cute. $1 each on the jewelry, thank you. This might be nice just for the stones for that price.
Or refit, redo the jewelry, or...
Oh, you put the stones back in and stuff?
I put it back in or put new stuff, new stuff.
Oh, nice. Well, gosh, at $1 each, you've got some cute stuff I think I'll get here.
Okay. Yeah, the bracelets I made, or if I find some necklace that's broken, I'll take it apart and make bracelets out of them.
That's cool.
And stuff. I try to use whatever parts I can for things.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I like that one.
Okay.
And I think I like that one.
Okay.
And I like your peace sign.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
I do, actually.
I know, I can tell.
Yeah, because I'm standing here pointing at things with my phone, yeah. I'm called the Antique Nomad. I like to buy old stuff and vintage stuff. It's that characteristic of me to buy new jewelry. She had a few things that she made out of older pieces, but to be honest with you, the reason I bought them, they were $1 a piece. A whole bunch of it had turquoise. I have a friend who, for that price, just wants it for the turquoise because he's doing Native American jewelry, and so he'll be happy with those. All right, we're at our next destination. I always come to this field on the way no matter which way I'm going because I always find good stuff here. And I will be filming from a distance the crowd because there are some Amish and Mennonite folk here. Somebody got a box full of stuff.
You've been enjoying the market so far?
I sure have. You're only the second place. You're only the second one I've stopped at. I'm just getting started. Well, these ladies like the dinnerware and the china and glass, and I do too, but they get other things. I like these coin counters. 25 on that one. That's about what I get. I don't know if they'll make me a better deal, but this one being the bigger one and holding quarters as well as nickels, dimes, and pennies makes it a little bit easier for use if someone were to use it today, and some people still do. $10 on this. This is a 1960s or 70s iron, probably by Wilton. It's to look like iron. It's actually aluminum. If you pick it up and it's really light, it's not iron. This is a really nice piece here, Fostoria Crown.
Yeah, man, that's a nice piece right there. We have never had that piece before.
It is a pretty piece, and I don't see them too often. Can you do a little better on it? Maybe 35? I think you've got 40 on it.
Yeah, 35 would be fine.
Is that all right? Okay, that'd be great. I'll take it then. Oh gosh, they've got some jadeite, batter bowl here. They have a lot of stuff I like today. I like this one with the vent. This is an old milking stool, is it? Or is this... I'm not sure exactly what the purpose of having the vents in here was. It's obviously not for a chamber pot. Interesting. Haven't seen that form before. $15 on that. The cast iron wheel just sold to a gal for $15, and boy, I would have taken it for that. I don't blame her. And they've got a lot of press back chairs. They said they clean out a lot of garages in Kentucky and Tennessee, but they definitely know the vintage stuff. Old medicine cabinet for $15. That could definitely be useful to somebody somewhere. That would certainly be easy to screw on more tightly with a couple of washers, but it would make interesting display. Again, you see it out here where it looks all rough, and then you have to realize that, well, when you take Mr. Yuck off, clean it up a bit, and you fix that handle, well, suddenly it's farmhouse chic because it's old painted metal. I still like this Fostoria Jamestown. They're very smart about how they price. The galvanized tub is $15. That's just cheap enough for somebody to buy and make some money on it, but they're not giving it away. Number one, I have to say, is kind of tempting. Yeah, I'm from Seattle originally, and that's a good price. Somebody wore all the gold off of it. They probably poured the booze on it. That stuff would take anything off. I see a croquet set over here, speaking of interesting to me. It seems to have 4 balls. So it's missing a few. Those are a little easier to find. It's a later one because the base is plastic. I really prefer when they're all wood and they don't have the rubber. I would still get it because it's wood if it was complete. Now, if you had a big store and you were doing farm products or primitives, this would be fun to put out in front. I finally sold my cream device, and mine didn't have the legs. That was a problem. This one does. That helps. They haven't put a lot of the little stuff out yet, which is a little disappointing because I have found really cool things here, so I may circle back to this before we leave this field. These little rugs. The older ones actually sell fairly well, but there's almost always a mend like this or a place where they joined it and it looks funny, so you really have to kind of look at the quality of them. Also the colors to see age. That's going to be very day-glow 70s. There are some boxes of little stuff, and I have to admit, I like lots of little junk, especially presented like this. Sometimes you get a bargain, although you have to be careful. There can be knives in these things, as you see. There can be metal pieces sticking out. I mean, I do this a lot, so my hands have calluses, but regardless, it's just like the bins of Goodwill. You don't just want to shove your hands in, because there could be a rusty knife sitting in there. I have to say, the fact that Goodwill is willing to do that and let people just dive in and accept that liability is very strange to me. Now, this we want to see if it might be Waterford, but it feels a little loose, so I'm not going to worry about it. I did not see a mark or a pattern that made me think it necessarily was anyway. Pipe is $6. I usually get 8 or 10, but they're really not anything special. There's more interesting pipes in the world. I think the apple cookie jar is going to be Californian late 70s because it's rather thin, and it just says USA, but that is definitely one of the California companies. I recognize the logo. Possibly Marcia of California. This side's more hit and miss, and we have miles to go, so I'm going to run through this pretty quickly, but I did get a neat McCoy planter the last time I was here. That may need to repurpose in some way. I do look at these things even if they're on the ground and you think, well, what could be good if it's sitting on the ground at a flea market? And, you know, most of this stuff isn't really much of anything, but you just don't know until you look. These people have some lovely flowers for sale. And a whole lot of other stuff. But it looks more like household goods. Some older stuff in this area. I see an ice cream chair, a typewriter on a typewriter stand. I like the typewriter. Good color. It's two-tone. Granted, it's beige and brown. It's not red and orange, but it's still very cool, and it's $8 The stand is only $15. I wouldn't usually think of buying the stand, but I'm going to offer $20 for both and see if they take it. I think they just want rid of this stuff. A little bit of Avon Cape Cod. Some old dresser memes and things. This is a pretty set here. A little bit of color loss that happens. Only $3 for this hand mirror though, and it's got the jewels all in it. That's the important part. The celluloid's slightly stained. The mirror's not bad. I think that's worth it. The brush is pretty, but the brush and the other mirror are just a little more worn. But you know, if they're only $3, I might be tempted to get them too. Well, at least the mirrors. Old mailbox. I like these. This is a 50s version. It's not the old Griswold from the 1910s, but if it's priced right, it doesn't matter because that's an interesting thing to put on an old house. More college medleys. I'm sure that's not what college people listen to now. Jolson sings again. Down here, it just looks like, yeah, there could be something in there, but judging by what I saw so far, I would say probably not. Smart set, $20. That one's a cute shape. $4 in the box. That's kind of nice, but I think they want money for those. Not sure how much on that. This one's like $40. What is this one? Oh, I see, with the caddy and everything. Well, that's probably what it's worth. There were a lot of commemorative decanters in the late 60s. They're priced about $10 each. That's what I've gotten for them in the past. $5 on the big Watt pitcher, but it's got a big old crack, and unfortunately you have to watch that with Watt pottery. Oh, what a cute little piano, $30. This guy would have probably had a mate to face him the other direction when he was new in the 60s. He's $5. This is the Royal Copley fish face. I've always liked this one because I think the fish are really good on it, and the color is good. Check for cracks. It actually seems very clean, but it's a little rough there. I do usually find something on this table every year at this. All refrigerator pitcher with the lid for $20. This looks like McCoy's butterfly. Oh no, it's the bird. Also McCoy. $22. Some sort of a piece together top for $50. So many more places I want to go, but this place is always so productive that it's worth spending the time here. So I'm just going to go through as fast as I can. The old school desks are squat and low. A lot of tools and stuff, and you know, sometimes the old toolboxes, machinist chests in particular, are of interest. Some sort of an old light, guide light, probably an extra light from like an old tow truck or something like that. This looks like an old Ford tail light. And I look at old car parts and things like that because I find that they're visually interesting and they do stir memories. And it's something that guys and women can both talk about, oddly enough, because everybody's had or been in a car, right? Blue pattern glass bowl from about 1890. It's actually a nice pedestal, and somebody would probably buy that even though it's crystal because it's got so much design. I bet some kid annoyed their folks with this thing. Well, that is great. I spent about $200. Well, yeah, right about $200, and I found some really cool stuff. A lot of it I paid half of retail for, but they were really nice pieces that sell quickly, so that does not bother me. They'll be gone in a month. Whether you drove here or rode, there are lots of things to see out in this building. And I remember finding a few things here last year, and I remembered that, yes, someone rode their horse and carriage. There's a farm market that operates most days right down the road, and obviously they are on their way back from that. They must have had a good morning. These horses are having a lot of fun meeting each other. That one's saying, "Where'd you come from, my little filly?" And she's saying, "You're full of hay." Oh my goodness, this couldn't be that moment, could it? I have had a bucket list thing about buying one of these platform rockers, and I know this one needs repainting, but boy, I'm tempted. Let's see what they say. Is it for sale? It is for sale. Well, Has lots of chippy paint. I don't even really mind the blue color. It's a little scuffed on the arms from however they retrieved it. Big question is, does it have rust? It doesn't appear to. It looks like they repainted it. They probably did keep it on the porch. A little bent up. These sell pretty easily though, if the price is right. We'll find out. Decent looking modernist dinette set. It's just the simulated wood grain on the table is a little tough. It's $100 though. Somebody would buy that. In the right modernist interior, that would be nice. Unfortunately, the dinette set turned out to be a better deal than the bench, which they want $150 for. So I guess it's not my moment. Aw, now she's all alone. You know how men are. There's a new girl in town. Well, we're in Fairview, Kentucky now, and this is our next stop. This one says they have some antiques and vintage and multiple sellers, so we'll take a quick look. There's 2 more right down the road. We got some old crates over here. Milk cans, 220. That's a lot number. $45 each on those. That's about the going rate. This Coke dispenser is one of the last ones that's a reach-in ice counter thing for older stores. This one was here in Russellville. It's priced at $30, which is pretty good, but it needs a lot of cleaning up and restoration. Wow, they've got some cool stuff in there. Some old floor model radios, a big scale. A lot of people didn't take everything out because they were talking about a lot of rain and occasional thunderstorms, but we really haven't had that. Now this is an old 1914 patent date pipe cutting device. Reed Manufacturing, Erie, Pennsylvania, where they made the Griswold. So lots of iron made into products like this at the time. And for that price, I think I can get that. There's also this, which is hand forged, and it's only $2. So I think I'm picking that up as well. Well, that is a lesson where 2 elderly ladies who are selling the things are probably selling them for a deceased spouse. And the prices were really good because they didn't care about those items. Great price on the gum wrap, but a little too rusty. $30 on the old red cooler. Does not say Coca-Cola, that's why it's $30. An old mail opener from Pitney Bowes. You can tell this is the sort of thing that somebody went into a barn and grabbed a bunch of stuff that was interesting and old. And now it's going to go up the food chain. This needs a new plug. It's clean enough. It'd probably be worth doing. But how hard would it be? It looks like it's 3 screws. I have to put in the new cord and then trust that it worked. And it's got a scuff, so I probably don't want that much work. Bakelite handle, $3. Take it. It'll need some sort of lubrication, but that's okay. Old egg scale, but a little too worn out. What year globe is this? USSR, Korea's into, Vietnam's into, Germany's into, so this is 1980 approximately. $1 each on these old milk bottles. If I can find one that does decent paint, I would take it for that price. But I think they all are just a little too weathered. Wait, nope. The one at the very front, the demonstration one. That's the one to get right there. Here's the kind of dumb bar stuff that I like. It's $5. Bar open, 1960s or 70s. If it says bar, someone's going to buy it. It's funny, people are drinking less, but they still like collecting barware because it looks like, hey, we're having fun, we're having a party. The boxes, here's sealing wax. Neat old box, but pretty common. Common ink bottles, a pretty common typewriter tin. Old Dr. Pepper bottle here, good for life. It's the embossed on both sides. $5 is a fair price for that. Atkins Dairy in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. Now these they want $30 a piece for because it's local interest. I want to go home, they need me. What else do we have down here? Fordson. This would have been for tractor tools, and it's $20 just for the box. $20 is about the retail on this. And, you know, if you can't find a bathroom along this route, well, you might want this for $10 to keep in the car. A lot of furniture here. At my hunch, there may be some used goods. Dome top trunk here, $40. The old paint's neat, but the dome tops are a little harder because you can't sit them flat and use them for other purposes like you can these foot lockers. Genuine vulcanized clipper cargo. So this view on Pan Am. This one's actually got some pretty neat labels, and sometimes the labels can be valuable enough or interesting enough graphically to make these sell. We've got some old luggage here that looks pretty beaten. By Jove. $4 for slot car racing. Now when it's this faded and beaten up, your hope is that for $4 maybe there's a good slot car in it or some good parts that you can sell. Let's see if we can sell. It's got the controller. I see no cars, so no, there's not really anything that I think we can make money on. This one is left. $3. This one is a Fiesta Cup on a different saucer. Looks like Metlock's color stacks, actually, and it is. They definitely got that idea from Fiesta, but they didn't put that out until the 1970s. Ronald McDonald for a quarter is probably worth buying, even though I have to say he was never a favorite of mine as a child. Well, screen print glasses, they're a quarter a piece. This one's pretty worn out. The other one's worth the quarter. It's actually worth the 50 cents if it didn't have that crack, but when you stack them together like that, the pressure can be enough to make the other one split, and that's what happened. I like fake fireplaces. Now this one has a few little pinholes in it and a crack, and that is a problem. At that point we kind of look to see what the cord looks like. It seems fine. But boy, with a little bit of damage, it's not that they wouldn't sell, it's not cracked clean through. Of course, the appeal is when you plug it in that this rotates and it casts light, and that's supposed to look like flames dancing. They're silly and fun and kitsch and sell great in the Northwest where my next show is. Well, I guess they really want us to come, so I guess we're going to this place next. Here we are at Bluegrass Bargain Barn. This apparently is an ongoing surplus and overstock establishment. Will they have anything old? I don't know that they necessarily will. I'm slightly jealous of whoever got Clifford the Big Red Dog. Nothing great in purses of paint by number. Let's see what this is. Chinese style. Very 50s. A little too rough. Chemistry lab is a great look. I'm sure a lot of scary things were done with these back in the day, and they usually are a big mess, and I won't touch them, unfortunately. But it's a neat graphic. We'll take a look at the old jewelry. Good color here, but it's round. It is signed.
Oh no. They were white.
That's a fun earring. I wonder if there's another. Any sterling?
Yeah. Well, we didn't know. Well, yeah. We left them laying here.
All smaller pieces, but at least there's some vintage 60s, 70s.
Oh, these are those things that make your...
Those are not marked.
You know, or whatever play by...
I'm talking to myself.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'm gonna send out watching the Amc Javelin.
Timex Cavatina. This is when convertible watches were popular in the 80s, so you have all these different covers you can snap on it depending what color you want it to be. There may be a collector for these. I think a lot of them were really cheaply done, but it's a fun concept. They did some jewelry like that too. Retro, but not really old, I don't believe. These are, though, old enough. I like the trunk too. In fact, she's actually got some fun things on at the old Las Vegas jackpot banks. If they're metal, they sell for me. This is nice because it's got the liner. And it's in good shape. It's actually been painted, but somebody probably used it as a coffee table, which is what would happen to it now, or a bench. In my recent eBay listing video, my bonus video that goes to my level 2 and 3 members first, I mentioned that Pierre Cardin designed interiors for the Amc Javelin. Well, looky here, an Amc Javelin. I would say this is in number 5 condition. We're heading towards the town of Elkton, Kentucky, and you can see we're on the old back road because there's old commercial buildings that have sat long vacant and some new construction. This area actually is expanding. Nashville has gotten so big that some people are leaving Tennessee and moving over the border to Kentucky if they wanted smaller town living that is disappearing north of Nashville. Well, this place is certainly busy. It is the next stop on the 400-mile sale. Fill your van, fill your truck, fill your carriage. This guy's ready to go. The young man there sold me this wheel for $25. My first big heavy purchase of the day. It looks cool when you flip it over to the side that would have shown as it was rolling down the street back around 1920. In the teens, they were still using wood spoke wheels. So this is 1920s. There were so many cars in the 1920s, so I'll try to research and figure out which one had 6 in that spacing. It'll be a test. People say, what do you buy from the 80s? Well, I hate the background on this, but boy, the shade is perfect. So I think I'd buy it. It's just, that's 80s kitsch right there. It's one way they do it here too. Like all the stuff that's on the trailer, she hasn't even priced. She just said $25 each on the far trailer there. Yeah, mister, I see your impressive horns. I'm not coming anywhere near you. That one was looking at me menacingly. We're freestyling it here. I just see cool old stuff. I wasn't going to any that were just single people, but this guy seems like he's got a lot of stuff out of a barn. And I'm definitely interested in seeing that. Look at this big red bell there. Big press. And cauldrons for boiling things. Now, maybe this guy's a dealer, but if the prices are right, there's some good stuff here. $115, that's really more than I can get. This is cute, but missing everything. If the siren still works, it would be worth restoring.
What year is that?
Oh, it's sometime in the 30s with this front end. Yeah. Yeah, definitely 30s. I think it's kind of neat looking, but it's missing a lot of stuff. Would have had a ladder or somebody standing in the back, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Nice looking though. Well, there's a 70s era Camaro in really nice shape. I think this is about a 73 if I'm not mistaken. Had that aggressive front end. Okay, well, lesson learned. Keep going to the places where there's multiple dealers. He had great stuff and it was all priced higher than I could get for it. Some people are there to sell to resellers like me, and some people, they are selling to interior decorators and collectors who also drive this sale and are looking for those kind of things and are not as concerned about the price and might pay retail. So I'm looking for reseller bargains. That's why I'm out on the first day, and that was not where I was going to find them. But he had cool stuff. We are at the intersection of Nashville Street, which is the next major city to the south of here in Russellville, Kentucky. And I have to say, I am amazed how busy this town is. I have been sitting here for a considerable amount of time. Maybe everybody has converged on Russellville for the 6880 sale. We are looking for Morgan Street. It should be just a couple of blocks down. Oh, the Saddle Factory Museum on the left is interesting. Built in 1817. I went there for a sale once and bought a few things. Well, we're looking at the old Todd's Cafe building, and it is a repository for 1930s bedroom furniture, it looks like. Some very pretty pieces, but I don't have use for it, but I see a flamingo over here. Let's take a look at this. Florida. A little scratched. I think that could be polished. Is it intact otherwise? And what is this? A pen? This says Bowling Green, Kentucky Beach Bend Park, so no, that does not go with it. Yeah, I might take that if the price is right. Some croquet parts, little miniature redwood rolling pin. People get a kick out of those. You know, again, if this stuff is cheap, why not? Here's a Griswold grinder, as grinders go. Griswold is better. Hopefully it doesn't rain on this darling 1930s vanity, because this is a really inexpensively made one. Everything is sort of painted on, veneered. It's fake finishes. It's scratched, but it could be polished out, and I bet it's not expensive, probably $50 or less, and it could be really, really cute if it were fixed. I'm expecting at some point people are going to come here and start taking those to other markets and selling them, but not yet. This piece in the right place could be traditional, It could even be styled boho if you played off of the gold and did a lot of Granada gold around it. Hollywood Regency. This actually has a lot of potential. If I was buying as a decorator, I would look at that for certain. I have this weird thing about having always wanted to sell a bubbler, as they call them in New England. This one's a Frigidaire. For those of you who are not from New England, a bubbler is what they call a water fountain. At least that's what we called them as a kid in California. It's funny, the regional variations that still persist. I like that about this country. It makes it interesting. Yeah, I don't know if this is a bunch of people doing this together or one person responsible, but I'm going to take everything over there and see at the end after I pick out what I like. Fishing stuff would be great to get, but I'm sure that the people who've been through here probably plowed through this a little bit. It doesn't look like there was anything amazing like wood lures or things like that, and these seem to be empty, I assume. The fishing boxes are okay. This one here actually has a good look and would clean up and could sell. Look at these old spring frames. These are great. These are from about 1900. This was utility bedding. That's what you had for the guest. It was a lot better than what they had 50 years before that too. Okay, repurposers, I want to see in the comments what you would do with these ends of a 1910s oak billiard table. There's got to be something really interesting. Do you make a planter box, a mantle? They have the size of the pool table too, so you could put it back together. Or disassemble and reassemble, because you'd have to have the new felt board and everything, but that is neat. More galvanized and a plow and some good primitive looking stuff, but this isn't really the look I have in mind for my next show. If I was headed to the other side of Washington or Oregon, for example, these would be great because these do appear to have some age. I like the stars. I mean, I don't think they're ancient, but I don't think they're brand new either. Well, I am a happy man. I just stepped across the street from Todd's Cafe and bought this. It's Edward Woodard for Salterini. It's got a nice, very modern, very sturdy base. It has older feet that don't have the big plastic attachments newer ones do. And it just needs some cleaning, but it will be able to be put upside down and packed on top of to take to Portland. And that means it was a great buy for 45 bucks. Russellville was very important in the Civil War and leaned towards the Confederacy heavily because it was part of the connectedness to the Nashville plantation systems. But another story was happening a little later in Russellville, and that was the arrival of this resident and civil rights pioneer, Alice Allison Dunnigan, who was the first black woman admitted to the White House press corps. She said, "Race and sex were twin strikes against me. I'm not sure which was the hardest to break down." This little museum, I understand, is her childhood home. And just next door to their 1940 house is this house, the Morton Kimbrough House Museum from 1810. Thanks for joining me again in the fun and fascinating antique community here where online meets the real world. Please click the subscribe button below, click the bell to be notified when new videos upload, leave a comment below, and hit thumbs up to like this video. Links to our online social media and our items for sale are in the description. This is George at the Antique Nomad. Bye for now.